Good morning.
How long was I out?
It's almost down to about 4 hours. You were pretty tired once you stopped talking about the ramifications of sentient ghouls.
I think I'm becoming more exhausted more often in my old age. Such a discovery would have had me awake for days back in the vault.
We still have a bit of coffee, and you're welcome to the last cup. We could head up to Berkeley Springs for Sebastian's stash if we need some more.
Well, that's tempting. I think we should proceed towards Dyer Chemicals. You listened to that holotape while I was asleep.
A dozen times before you went out like a light was enough for me. A lot to think about the last 4 hours or so, to be fair. I listened to the radio a bit too. Ever since we met Graham, whatever her name is, I guess it was just a countdown until we discovered this.
Nature is a wonderful thing, and sense allows us to explore that wonder.
And a terrible thing too in the hands of people. It ended the world, and it probably ended these poor souls too.
Aside from some theories involving genetics and radiation, we really have no idea what causes ghoulification. This could have been an entirely different process.
Aren't you listening to what I'm saying? Poor souls who didn't know what they had become, and they were hunted down like animals by the Free States.
You're being overly emotional, and emotion is the enemy of rationalism. Given what we have encountered and what the Free State survivors had encountered up to that point, their response was justified, if not a bit short-sighted.
Made all the more complicated by the fact that, as you said, neither body seemed to indicate ghoulification, and unchanged heaven associated with possibly friendly ghouls.
Yes, that is indeed a great mystery. It definitely explains a prototype has Metsu. Ghouls do seem to be radioactive to an extent, and perhaps it was no different in that case.
2 dead bodies, and from that holotape, nothing left but regret. If you hadn't been trackable from his distress beacon, their story would probably remain untold, perhaps forever.
When I scouted Dyer Chemicals, I was pretty sure there was a sewer system, probably for illegal disposal and significant underground storage space. I was too busy dodging a sentry bot, but this AD card suggests it would have been locked anyway.
But why chose a sewer system probably full of toxic chemicals and radiation?
It is plainly obvious as a tactical response. As far as we know, all members of the Free States were human. Humans aren't about to go somewhere like that willingly.
But like you said, nothing is unique. It's entirely possible that there were enough hazmat suits to weather any dangers.
This is true. We have no idea what we'll find, if anything. The group might have moved on immediately, or we might find a nest of feral ghouls.
Our supplies are limited, but we should be well armed enough to handle a couple of ferals. I can't imagine their numbers being especially large.
That is assuming we can gain access. I figure on there being an entrance, either on the west or east side of the grounds, places I wasn't able to search.
Do you want to head out now? It will only take me about 5 minutes to pack up.
No. I want you to take a nap for an hour, perhaps 2. I'm not yet convinced that you don't have a mud case of food poisoning from yesterday.
Well, if you insist. We really should start it earlier. I really didn't need that sleep.
As a medical doctor, I will just call that statement as it is complete and utter nonsense. Nevertheless, we're almost there, and if we need to fall back, I know of a nearby bunker, the one where that poor fellow blew himself.
I stayed away from the air. I figured the sentry bot and a couple of protectrons I saw were serious bad news.
If we are careful and don't alert their attention, we can probably check out locations. I figure on the western one being a bit more isolated. There's a big cut that runs off the embankment. Although, I can't imagine they chose a stronghold that didn't have at least 2 entrances. I figure there's a main one in one of the buildings I didn't get around to exploring.
I can just make out the parking lot from here. I figured we'll hide behind these trees over there and start scooting the place out. Spot anything?
The parking lot looks. No, wait, there's a lawn Ibot. Might be off its patrol route. We can't take the chance. I think a well-placed shot. That's sure to attract some attention, so let's move quickly but carefully. Let's get behind that pipe. That's where we need to look anyway. I said carefully. I think I hear a sentry bot already moving in.
Alert.
It's closing and maybe we should retreat?
Nonsense. There should be an access hatch somewhere along the pipe. At the very least, we can hide out in the pipe for a bit.
Reanalysis complete. Threat level red.
I found it getting... We should have lost it. I doubt it'll patrol outside for too long.
Even better, take a look over there.
A mysterious door inside another pipe. Nothing strange about that.
Sarcasm isn't your strongest suit, but for the attempt, I'll give you the honor of seeing where this goes.
I think we can with the water. Some red eggs might be a good idea just in case.
Even better, I still have 2 doses of red shield that should protect us.
At the very least, you could have made it taste like Nuka, maybe cherry or grape.
Nevertheless, it should provide enough protection, although I make no promises with those glowing ghouls we sometimes encounter.
I think we can take this catwalk across. The emergency lights are still working, so if we have to turn off our flashlights, we won't be hopelessly in the dark.
Stop, wait, I think I hear something down in the water.
I think I see a room up ahead. Might just be an alcove, but we could hide there for a few minutes. Wall lights, a workbench, supplies, and a fusion generator. Somebody was here.
The fusion generator is barely operational, probably just enough for the surrounding lights, and it looks a bit crude to be per-war. Some supplies still left, so whoever was last here didn't have time to collect everything. What is it, Erick?
Is that it? Is that who I think?
Indeed it is. Rest in peace, Marla Brinks. You were a good colleague.
I had always hoped she made it. We never found her.
From the looks of it, she succumbed to radiation sickness most likely. The last stage probably came on pretty hard and she was probably heading from Furls at the same time.
I don't know if remember, but we went out for a few months, about 5 years ago. She was a lot of fun, but a real sweet person.
I have a photographic memory, so of course I do. And while not exactly a super genius, she was very capable in her work and she was, as you said, it was a lot of fun.
Really, Maxwell, here too?
Nothing serious or long-term, just twice when the mood struck us late night in the lab, ships passing in the night, nothing more.
When I first heard Elaine's voice, it made me think of Merle, a serious scientist, but a lot of her who had no problem expressing how she felt about our wayward family.
I never mentioned it before. I'm not sure why I'd mention it now, but I actually knew Miss names from Voltec I never see.
It slipped your mind somewhere in between all the times I told you I had fallen in love with a dead woman.
And maybe it had an emotional effect on me having lost another coworker when I found her in that house. But she died like she had life. As they say, she had a lot of spunk, a very capable doctor who was genuine in her care for her friends and family out here.
I know we're not in a position to take Marla's body out of here right now to give her a proper burial. You don't have to give us a series of excuses while we're being honest.
I actually did go back after our battle with the Queen and buried Ella not too far from where we found her.
That almost sounds like Dr. Maxwell Marconi grew sentimental out here in the real world.
Perhaps. I will say that she was like you imagined her, and she probably would even gone out with you at least once if you had asked her.
I don't even remember what ended our dates, Marla. But maybe there wasn't much there to begin with besides being friends.
Nevertheless, when we get out of here, next time we have all gathered together, you could be the one to give her a send-off, a few kind words. She was well liked down the vault.
That's why I always insist we bury anybody we find anybody, and everybody, perhaps a maniac, deserves a final regard and respect for who they were or could have been in their lives.
I have a feeling we'll be doing even more of this once we find what we are looking for.
Ashes to ashes.
And dust to dust.